Hi everybody, it's Tracy for Yoga Within at Home. And I'm going to do a mini tutorial today on Utkatasana or chair pose, moving into a squat as well. So what you'll need today is a block. That's the best thing to have, but you can also use a blanket folded up or a towel folded up, or maybe even a cushion if you don't happen to have a block at home. So we're going to start seated. We're going to go through a few different phases to get to our chair pose using that block, okay? So come down to a seated position. We're going to take our legs in front of us, and we're going to put the block between the thighs, the handy-dandy block. So because it's so light, it will basically stay in place without squeezing too hard, right? So just gently move those inner thighs in towards the block. Can you feel the muscles working and that internal rotation happening? Your toes are pointing up towards the ceiling. You're going to sit up nice and tall. And again, just turn the thighs in. So if you can feel that, then you've got the right action happening in the legs. Now let everything go. Just let the legs flop open, the feet flop open, and just let everything relax. Now let's come back to that position again. So you can feel the engagement of the legs as you move the thighs in towards the block. Toes pointing up towards the ceiling. Hands are just on the floor gently, and you're lifting up nice and tall. From here, we're going to come into a bit of a forward fold, not too much. And if you need to bend your knees, feel free. We're going to just lean forward. So the thing is, you don't want to let go of the engagement of the legs, right? You're still holding that block in place without squeezing too hard. You're breathing. And on an exhale, maybe you go a little deeper into the pose. The spine is straight, and you're dropping that tailbone down. Breathe here. Breathe here. Good. Awesome. So now you're still engaging the legs and lifting yourself back up. You're going to take your hands just behind you to the floor and bend your knees, still holding that block. Take the feet to the floor. Good. So think about the knees in line with the toes here. Still feeling that engagement of the legs. Lift the torso up a little bit and then take the arms in front. So you are basically in chair pose, in Utkatasana right here. Your arms don't need to be super high. Sometimes you get really tight in the shoulders when you do that. So bring the triceps down a little bit in front of the ears as you reach forward. It might even be better for you to take them down a little bit lower. You are still engaging the legs, holding that block in place. Breathe here. Good. Everything's kind of working. Good. And then you can release. Let the legs go and move the block out of the way. Just shake the legs out. Okay, so we're going to come to standing, and we're going to apply all of that into actual Utkatasana. Okay, so come on up onto your feet. We're going to take the block and again put it between the legs just like we did when we were seated. Okay, so same thing. No need to squeeze and tighten everything really tight because it sort of defeats the purpose. You want to just gently hold that block in place. Turn those thighs in towards each other. Good, you've got a good grounding through the feet on your mat. I'm just going to turn to the side of it so you can see this pose. We're going to start with the hands on the hips. We're going to do a simple Utkatasana chair pose, and then we're going to add a couple of different elements to it, okay? So think about sending the hips back as if you were going to sit on a chair, hence the name. So you're going to bend at the knees, take the hips back, and pretend you are lowering the glutes down towards a chair. Good. Breathing here. Good. You're spreading the toes. You're keeping the feet nice and solid on the ground. Try not to take your weight too far forward, but instead drop those heels down. Now, I want you to think about a couple of things. There's lots to think about with this pose. You're going to drop the tailbone a bit. You're going to lift up through the belly. So you're taking the belly button towards the spine. Are you feeling it? Breathe here. You're holding all of this strength. You're holding that block in place. Breathing. Good. Now let's release. Come on back up. And just do a little bit of a wiggle. So we're going to go back into it again, and we're going to add arms this time. So same thing. You're going to bend the knees. You're going to send the hips back as if you're sitting on a chair. Tuck that tailbone down a little bit. So what you don't want is this big curve. You want to drop the tailbone down, lift the belly up. Good. And then when you're ready with that, take the arms up, just like we did when we were seated. They can be lower if that feels better in the shoulder. You can bring them up a bit higher if you like. Think about bringing those the triceps in towards each other, towards the ears. Keep some weight in the heels, maybe lower down a bit more by hinging at the hips and taking yourself even lower. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Good. Let's lift up again and take the arms down. Good. Breathing here. Now, don't move your legs, but remove the block from the legs. You're going to keep the feet in the exact same position. And this time you're going to take the block between your hands. So instead of squeezing it together, just hold it gently in the palms of the hands. So the fingers are beyond the edge of the block. Okay? So just keep the arms down for now. We're going to come back into chair pose. We're going to add the arms. So bending the knees, taking the seat back, dropping that tailbone. Might be a little easier without the block now. Good. Keep the weight even on the feet. Bring the belly in, drop that tailbone. Now reach out through the hands. Inhale and lift those arms. You're gently squeezing the block in between the hands. Breathing here. Strong pose. You might go a little deeper by hinging and dropping down a little bit lower. Breathing here. It's a workout. Breathing. Good. Come on all the way up. And take the arms down. And let's put the block aside. Good. So those are a few steps to get into the pose, the full pose. Now we're going to do it without any props. And we're going to add a squat into it as well. When you Google Utkatasana or chair pose, you will see so many pictures of people doing it, and they all look very, very different. So really don't worry about what you look like too much. Think about how it feels and think about those little elements, the dropping of the tailbone, the lifting through the belly to keep everything strong and solid. Okay? So let's come back to Utkatasana without the block this time. So remember, just pretend that that block is between the legs. You're turning the inner thighs in towards each other. Start with the hands on your hips. Send the hips back as you bend your knees as if you're sitting on a chair. Lift the belly up, drop the tailbone, and then add your arms. Try not to take the weight too far forward. Make sure you're solid in those heels. And then to lower down, you keep sending the hips back, reaching forward through the fingers. Breathe here. Breathe here. Good. Now come up a little bit and then lift the heels up off the ground. Here's where we get into some balance. You're going to slowly lower yourself down. Just go as far as you can. Maybe taking the hips down towards the heels and maybe even taking the arms forward. Breathing here. So this is squat number 1. Breathing. That means we're going to do another one. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Good. Now can we lift back up? Lift up. Keep the heels up off the ground. Slowly lower them down. Come into Utkatasana. Lift up and release. Good. Nice. Shaking out the legs. And then I'm going to show you one more squat that is a little bit different. Malasana, but kind of the same mechanics of getting into it. So we're going to widen the feet this time, turn the toes out, and again in this one you go as far as you can. Okay, let's start with hands on the hips. Let's bend the knees and send the hips back. I'm just going to turn here again. Send those hips back, lift your belly up, and let's start with taking the arms to the legs. So same thing as we did in chair pose, try to drop that tailbone a little bit and lift the belly up towards the spine. Breathing, keeping the weight even on the feet. You might even play with going forward and back a little bit so that you can really feel solid on the feet. Nice. Now to go even deeper, I'll just switch here again. Bring your arms inside, and you might need to just keep adjusting, getting those hips lower. So you can stay up a little bit high, or you might even bring the feet in, or maybe wider depending on how you're feeling, and then drop the hips right down, bringing the hands in front, trying to lift that chest and take the gaze forward. Breathing here. Breathing here. Really nice. Good. Taking the hands down, lifting yourself all the way back up to standing. And there you have it. You have done Utkatasana, chair pose, and also a couple of different squats. So I hope you enjoyed the mini tutorial today, and we'll see you again soon.